With videos getting more than 4 million views, the topic of Amazon has clearly captured people's attention. But there's a problem. YouTubers are pouncing on the topic and making a ton of content. Some good, some not so. Farming views and clicks in the space is a harsh reality that can lead to selling products like this. What does this even? Oh yeah. In this video, I'm going to be looking at some of the products that have been recommended by some of these so-called experts to see if they're going to put you on the millionaire path or if you're just another victim of the click. When I break down each of these different products, I'm going to look at 3 key things. Number 1, price. I want to make sure the price is over $20. Secondly, we're going to look at bestseller rank or BSR, which is going to tell us how popular an item is. The third thing we're going to look at are reviews. We want to make sure that items have got less than 1,000 reviews. Let's take a look at the first product. We have an iPhone case. Now, if you have been in this market for any period of time, you're going to know this is not going to be a market that's going to stand up as a good one. And that's exactly the purpose of today's video, to help you avoid making mistakes. First thing I'm going to tell you as well is we gave the price, we gave the BSR, and we gave the reviews, but also I tend to look at the amount of results for a keyword. So in this case, we've got iPhone case, and it has over 100,000 results. That doesn't mean we can't sell the product. It just means there are a lot of listings on Amazon that contain the phrase iPhone case, and that can be good and bad. But as we start to come down here, there's 2 different tools we have at play. We have our Hero Launchpad, which is something that we run here at Marketplace Superheroes. The other thing we have that's completely free is, of course, our DS Amazon Quick View. Both of these will tell you the BSR. We can look at that very quickly. And of course, we can see the price right here. So iPhone cases, $12.98. It's not going to be something we want to sell because, of course, the price is not going to work. It is sub $20. And as we go down and look at more and more products sold in this space, we can see a lot of them are lower in price. You also might see, well, there's items like this that are $72. You might think, well, I should sell those because, hey, they're 72 bucks. They match up in terms of price. Also, secondly, we look at bestseller rank, BSR, and we look for things that are less than 50,000 ideally. This is 12,000, this is 13,000. So you might start to think, well, that starts to tick some of the boxes, but I would argue that the big issue in this market is going to be the amount of competition. And if we run any advertising on Amazon to try get our item in front of customers, it's just going to cost us a lot of money to do so. And the reason for that, Amazon's advertising works on an auction basis. And basically what that means is different people are bidding on keywords, meaning they're prepared to pay a certain amount of money every time someone clicks their listing for that keyword. So in this case, iPhone case, if someone were to click that, Amazon would charge an amount of money per click. And so the more competitive a space is, because there's more demand, the higher the cost per click for things like iPhone case. The second product is, of course, the yoga mat. And yes, I know there's lots of people, maybe your cousin started a business selling yoga mats and they were super successful or whatever. I'm joking, but maybe that happened. The reality is when we go in here, we can see the results are over 3,000, which does not knock it out, and it never knocks anything out really. It's just an indicator of how many different listings contain the keyword yoga mat. But what really starts to do it for us is we start to look down and see there's lots of different products that are low in BSR, which is a good thing. And these are over $20. But the real issue as we start to look through the market is we start to ask ourselves, what would we even do here to stand out? How would we get people to come and buy our yoga mat product from us on Amazon? What would we have to do? And in the case of this one, we would have to run a lot of advertising because there's just so many options. And even deciding the kind of yoga mat that we would sell, like I'm scrolling down here and we're still seeing different kinds of yoga mats, different designs and all of that, which is a good thing because obviously the more of these we see, the more different kinds of designs, it just means that there's a lot of purchasing going on in this space, but it's just way too much. It's just too hard to know how we would stand out. And ultimately, it's just going to cost us a lot of money to sell here. Now, just because something is super competitive on Amazon does not mean you cannot sell it. You just need to be prepared for the reality, which we just talked about, which is we're going to be spending a lot of money to acquire customers. So if you were going to sell yoga mats on Amazon, what you've got to be prepared for is building a real brand off of Amazon and utilizing Amazon as a way to acquire customers for that brand. That's very different, by the way, to just selling things on Amazon, which really is not our goal anymore when we're building our own brand on the platform. And the reason for that is simple, because it's going to take time, effort, and investment to get something like this up and running. But for me, talking to you, being a beginner in this space, I just wouldn't get into yoga mats because not only are they competitive on Amazon, they're competitive everywhere else because they're a very obvious product that is sold to billions of people. This one is interesting because straight away we can see there are less results for something like jade roller. So that maybe starts to give us a feel for, yeah, maybe this is a growing topic. As we look down, we see a few really interesting things. And we haven't really covered it in the last two products, and that is reviews. Most of the products that were yoga mats were over 1,000 reviews. And in the case of the jade roller, like 35,000 reviews, 5,000 reviews, 51,000 reviews. So what does this tell us? There is massive demand for something like this, but a lot of these are sub $20, which really knocks it out for us as well. The big thing here is there's items doing as much as $634 in beauty and personal care. It is $9.99, but what I'll do is I'll just jump in and have a quick look at the sales of this item so you can see the level of revenue that's happened. So we can use Hero Launchpad to do that. Go to the scanner. So this one listing is $118,000 in revenue, and it is $9.99, which means they're selling almost 12,000 units of this one product from this one listing, which sounds great, but it's a problem. And I'm going to show you one more thing to look out for, and that is going to be the brand or the seller name. So to do that, we can go down here to the buy box. We can see it's sold by BAINEI. Just to be clear, when I talk about this, I'm talking about it from a competitive standpoint. And this seller, quite clearly, is located over in China, which isn't a big deal because we're going to be buying oftentimes from China when we're building a brand on Amazon. But the issue for me is that this space has lots of people who are located in China and they're selling in the market, and they're simply going to be in a situation where they will keep cutting the price down because price is something that they're going to compete on more so than brand. But to be very fair to this company, they've done a decent job of making the brand look pretty good as well. One other test we can do is jump over to Google Trends to see how popular an item or a keyword is. So if we look at jade roller as an example, we can go back to Google Trends, we can paste that in, and we can see that this is an item that has seasonal demand. See the way it goes up and down? And it's in the height of the season around Christmas time, according to this. There it is there, around Christmas time again, same kind of period of time. So it's just up and down, very seasonal, but it's been around for a long period of time, and you can see it's kind of been on a bit of a downward trajectory over time as well. And it doesn't mean that it's going to stop selling. It's probably going to continue to sell a lot. It just means we're going to keep away from stuff like this because there's too many reviews, price is very low, and also again, when we scroll down, what would we do to stand out? They all look kind of the same. Some are just slightly different colors. So on Amazon, this is going to be a difficult one to work. Next one is probably going to be kind of divisive. This is one that I tried to sell many years ago. It's just really difficult to make it work. It's the garlic press, all right? Now, what's interesting about this type of an item is you're going to see stuff like this. It's essentially the exact same design. You can see most likely these are Chinese from a location standpoint. Obviously the price is the big issue here, and our reviews are a problem also. 22,000 reviews, 4,000 reviews. Price is a bit too cheap. It's going to be very difficult for us to compete. But also I'm going to talk about something else with this product. It's just hard to make it interesting from a brand perspective as well, because there's just lots of different people doing it. What else would you do with a garlic press? It's very difficult to stand out. Lots of people are trying different things with different designs. And all of these are doing pretty well. They're all making sales, but the big issue is the price. And something like this being as commoditized as it is, people know what a garlic press does. They understand, and the features of it and everything are just not particularly important. So this market is just a really horrible one. It does make a lot of money, but there's people selling stuff for $2.99. You just don't want to be in this. This next one is intriguing, and the reason for that is that you might think when you hear under bed storage bag, it sounds quite niche in nature. It sounds like something maybe not too many people are selling. It sounds like something I could probably build a pretty interesting storage brand around and do well. But when we look on Amazon, kind of see a different reality. And there's a few. Number one, we can look at those search results and we can see, okay, there's going to be a lot of these for sale. But the big thing for me is when we start scrolling down, we just start seeing a lot of different styles. That can be good, but at the end of the day, it also can be difficult for people to know exactly what they want. Now, nowadays on Amazon, though, customers are a lot more switched on. Like they will search with a lot more specific search terms for different products as well, which is fantastic. They might even search a certain leader size or whatever. But for me, as we scroll down, it's just like, look at all the different listings. Like, what would we do with these to stand out? Look at the price points as well, $9.99. You know, that's not ideal either. A lot of these items as well have a lot of reviews, well over 1,700. So that is difficult. And even something like this, that's $9.99. If we were just to look into that and see, but what kind of revenue is that producing on a monthly basis with a very basic listing, this is doing $60 in revenue. So another thing you can be checking into is using Hero Launchpad to see the kinds of revenue items like this are producing. And this one here, obviously, at $60 a month is not something we would get particularly excited about. So all of these different kinds of products are ones I would absolutely recommend you avoid. If you're already in them, I would look at that very seriously and consider potentially selling them down over time and moving out. They're very competitive. They're always going to be competitive. I would also say if you ended up building a storage brand, for example, maybe you find an item that is a lot more suitable, has a solid price, there's not too many reviews, you feel like you can do something in the market, that's great, and it starts to work for you. Maybe you bring in the underbed storage over time to build out your brand a little bit more, but it doesn't become what we call your lead product, the product that's going to actually launch your brand. We want to make sure that that item is going to work well for you, because that's ultimately what's going to build everything else. We're going to build on top of that. So I hope this video was really useful. I hope you give it a like, and also I hope you consider watching this video to go even deeper on the topic. And as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.